Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I am Screen Scene Guru. If you haven't come to my page before, I cover entertainment news, worldly affairs sometimes, different types of topics like the phenomenon of UAP, unidentified aerial objects. So if you guys are into that, be sure to like and subscribe to my page. I got quite a bit of information to go into. This is covering the last week we've had of August, so let's dive into it. And I've got a bit of physical media to show off as well. So without further ado, let's start off. So going into my notes, I've got, let's see, Dave Bautista is set to play Vilgax, the villain from Ben 10, in a live-action film, which is very interesting because we just got to see, if you guys watched the Avatar Aang, The Last Airbender movie on Paramount, Dave Bautista voices the new villain in the movie, which is pretty interesting. Let's see, we've also got Vincent Pastore, a veteran actor from The Sopranos, unfortunately passed away at the age of 80 years old. So big shout out to him, losing some of our greats. We got the Wicker trailer was released. Very interesting new indie film being dropped. A new moratorium has come out to do NDA waivers for people that are familiar with the topic of non-human intelligence. They're allowed to come forward to the Pentagon at Arrow and Pursue, which is a new task force made by the White House. So it's some very interesting stuff developing just in the last week or so. We've got all reports of UAP encounters. Pursue, a task force, has been made now to cover the stories and get testimony from credible sources, so former government employees. Contractors, they shall be allowed to waive their oath or prior documents that held them liable if they ever whistleblow. Now all those are being basically looked over, and they're allowing people to come forward to tell their accounts, which is pretty good. That's what people have been asking for years. Batman Nightfall, Michael Mando will voice Bane, so that's pretty cool. I thought he's still on the height of Spider-Man Brand New Day, being Scorpion in that, even though he is kind of controlled by another character. I don't want to spoil it too soon if you guys haven't seen Spider-Man. The Odyssey crosses 700 million. It's already crossed $1 billion, so that's pretty cool. Super Mario Galaxy earned 700 million in just 19 days. So Toy Story 5 in just 21 days. And Michael earned that much money in just 24 days. So it beat out all of their records. Joe Rogan calls out gatekeepers that held the technology in secret laboratories, saying that they are criminals, saying that they're committed crimes against humanity. I'm not sure if I go that far, but they are definitely preventing us from living in a different age, different time. There's a great book called The Lost Century you can check out. It basically goes into this. Joe also asked the question of why amnesty, which is a big question I also have. Why do these people need to be absolved of crimes? Because they've been doing shady stuff for a long time. We've got Nightfall. Animated is supposed to be a 3-part event, similar to how they just did Crisis on Infinite Earths. I got the first one of those. I didn't get part 2 or 3. And I believe they were doing, what was it? With Dr. Manhattan. Is that trying to remember, Watchmen? They did 2 parts for Watchmen. I don't know if they ever got a 3rd part, chapter 3, but there was originally, I believe, going to be a 3rd one, but they've only done the first 2. Let's see. And we got Daylight is now on Blu-ray in 4K for the first time. So that's pretty cool. From Sly, Sylvester Stallone, Daylight. 21.4% of young adults are choosing green, the herb, over drinking alcohol or smoking cigarettes. So that's a new study from Fox News. So take it with a little bit of grain of salt, but 21.4%, that's a big percentage for average. I mean, there was only, I think, 18 or 19% that like to smoke, and then something like 22% like to drink. So a 21.4 is a pretty close average for people that like to partake of the herb, which is nice. Practical Magic, we've heard, is having a special screening. It's going to be re-released in theaters September the 10th for a special screening. Like I said, it might not be widely released, but just for that day. I believe it's an anniversary release, somewhat. It's the second one, Practical Magic 2. So it's going to be the official release of the second film. I know they are releasing the first one in theaters again. Gonna have to look up when that is. Let's see, House of the Dragon just wrapped up its finale, guys. So I believe it was episode 8 or 9. They are a little bit shorter in season than how they started out. But it is cinematic, gorgeous. Great storytelling, some of the best visual effects with the dragon fights. The Dance of Dragons has truly begun. Now it's going to be, going into the age of Rhaenyra, seeing how she ages as queen. We did hear from the showrunner that they haven't started filming for season 4 yet, so that means they are going to be on back order for about 2 years. It's going to be shot in 2027, and then it's going to be released in 2028, right alongside the same time, I believe, Night of the Seven Kingdoms. It's getting a second season in 2027, and then by 2028 we are going to get Aegon's Conquest as a full theatrical film from Warner Brothers. So that's a big slate they have planned. Spokane fires, I wanted to address this real quick. They've now confirmed over 1,000 structures have burned. A lot of people displaced from these outrageous wildfires spreading across country. Mostly, there's a lot of them starting up in Washington State specifically. So going off that, Dana Bash confronted RFK on vaccines on CNN. So that was trending a little bit. Dana Bash, of course, and then Lioness season 3 premiered on Paramount Plus. If you guys haven't started watching, it has gotten some criticism from some military veterans, are kind of triggered by the series. George Knapp reveals Nid's files for the first time on Mystery Wire, which was really cool to see. He goes back into the 1996 Skinwalker Ranch case, which was pretty good. He was kind of one of the leading journalists in not only outing Area 51, but also Skinwalker Ranch. So that's really cool. He talked to Bigelow in the first official Bigelow podcast that was released widely to the world. So that was really awesome. I've been waiting to cover this in the newsletter, but I figured now is a perfect time. So going on from there, they talked about the hitchhiker effect, about people going to the ranch, military experts, having encounters, some kind of experiences, and then having the experiences following them home. We know this happens in the paranormal field for years. The past 10 years, they've studied this, and now it's moving its way into ufology, which they all are going to be consecutively, basically need to be studied under one general term. Whether that's, a new form of psychophysics or what, will have to be determined. So going on from there, we got John Wheeler used to call these vortices Wheeler tunnels, so that's a big deal. Wormholes that are all over the world and the universe that have been theorized since the 60s. Wheeler tunnels, other names for them. Um, Electromagnetic anomalies. Triangulating signals does not work over the ranch. They know that. So GPS, for instance, doesn't work. Hawking radiation has been spotted in certain areas of the ranch as well, which is a clear sign of black holes, which they know that from studying them in space. So electromagnetic fallout can actually occur, which damages people. Theory of biologically transversible. So basically, if this wormhole can take in biologic material or dispense biological material. And that has only been a theory, but now that there are papers out basically saying, yes, this can happen, the general public has been exposed to stuff like Star Trek, Quantum Leap, other things that have gotten us kind of ready for the idea that there are other planes in the universe. Wormholes do exist. It's a fact. The anomalies are a fingerprint. So the government does track these things. They correlate with UAP appearances. That's why I cover it for the channel. Several factors of EMAs, active medical episodes, ultra-high sonic frequencies are used, like microwaves, and that goes into Havana, and soldiers getting exposed, leading to brain injuries, and that's been a big topic brought up over the years, now more than ever, I think. Then going on, we've got native shaman have gone to the ranch to perform ceremonies, and they've got some very interesting results from those ceremonies. Temperatures have increased. They've seen unexplained phenomena like light orbs come out of Homestead 2. I believe they are now on season 7 of Mysteries of Skinwalker Ranch on History Channel. So you guys can check it out on Prime or on History Channel. Mineral-rich areas are also places of high strangeness. So we've known that for a long time. People that have researched this. If you haven't, quartz crystal, other things like that, very electromagnetic conductive materials, even bodies of flowing water like dams or rivers, things can be seen there. Files as far back as the 1950s surrounding Utah, in the books called the Utah UFO Display, go into a great record of detail. So you guys can check out the Great Utah UFO Display. It's a nice book if you're interested in the topic or live out there. Almost 100 years of people have come and been experiencing since the Buffalo Soldiers. So very interesting that this stuff has been going on, and there hasn't really been a case of any kind of explanation. They've reported to find artifacts going back 8,000 years on Skinwalker Ranch, and it goes back to religious ceremonies. So different groups throughout time have come there to have a religious experience, and then the groups that go there come back changed. So that's very interesting to see. Probably goes into the reason why the government wants to study it as well. Ted Lasso returns to Apple TV for season 4. I haven't got into Ted Lasso, but I've heard it's a cheery, upbeat show about soccer. So this new season, he's teaching a women's team. I'm down to check that out. Rick and Morty spin-off with the new President Carter series is coming to Adult Swim and Max. Let's see. Rosamund Pike is being eyed to play the love interest in Ghost Rider, so that's cool. Dave Bautista in talks to join God of War TV series due to Ryan Hurst having to drop out. That could be very interesting. We've also got Star Wars Visions The Ninth Jedi has dropped on Disney Plus and Hulu. So that's cool new Star Wars content. Apparently more recasting for God of War because they are recasting Atreides and Thurid for Season 2. So I'm not sure if that means they're going to allow the footage from Season 1 to be aired with a different actor, or if they're just going to completely recast. That's kind of interesting. Creep Tape Season 3 gets a release date. If you guys haven't seen the movie Creep, very interesting film about a psychopath. We actually got to see the actor from Creep. He plays a scientist in the Backrooms, which I tried to remember what he was from when I watched the Backrooms. I was like, I've seen this guy in something before, and it was Creep. Really great horror film. Jafar Jackson will join Will Smith in Supermax, a new film coming out. They've got the Scream series is now all available on Tubi. Tubi is, of course, owned by Paramount. The Scream series was a MTV production, so it's kind of interesting. They're rolling out their stuff and putting it on different networks that they still control. Billy Bob Thornton turned 71 years old, so shout out to him. Happy birthday. We also got Stephen Graham, turned 53. Martin Sheen turns 86 years old. The Shards premiered on Hulu, the new Ryan Murphy series. I just finished 911 Season 9, and it was a great finale. Had a little bit of a twisted turn with a apartment complex that kept on having their emergency smoke detectors go off. The fire department kept going back, and there was nothing there. Then the apartment complex was on fire. When they finally came back, it turned out there was a group of migrants being kept in the basement on secret, being smuggled by the building owner. Very interesting twisted turn. Involved some Russian agents for this last season. So it was kind of like a movie finale almost. But very interesting. We are, of course, going to get Athena back for Season 10. They aren't going to end it just yet. In Michigan, 2 people have died from the Psychospora parasite, and over 11,000 people are sick with the disease nationwide. More foodborne illnesses, unfortunately, spreading due to the temperature rise and these things being able to spread. Saudi Arabia is gearing up for a big assault against Iran due to a oil refinery strike. So that's some big major news. Barbie 2 is just waiting on Margot Robbie and Ryan Gosling to sign the contract to make the second film. Apparently they're wanting more money. We haven't heard about if Margot Robbie's producing company is going to be attached or not, but they have the script. Apparently it needs a little bit touch up from whoever's going to be doing it. I'm not sure if it's going to be the lady that's doing the Narnia film still, or if they're bringing in someone else to direct. But supposedly, if they don't get a deal done by December, the rights to Barbie go back to Mattel, and Mattel would most likely want to make their own original Barbie instead of go off of what Warner Brothers has started. So, very interesting story going on with the Barbie franchise. New York, Long Island finds cases of tremoli or a rabbit fever. So there's a rabbit fever going on. Texas has a ban on all THC products over a certain percentage. I think it's over like 45%, which is very low for THC. If you ever bought a pen or anything like that, you would know 45% is not very high. So they've just issued this very strict THC ban in Texas, which the federal courts have already started to fight and challenge. Very interesting, especially when they know cannabis brings the state money. So I talked about the Barbie deal. It has a working clock up until December. They have a deal to make. But if they surpass that deadline, then Mattel gets the franchise back. I don't know what Mattel will do with it. They are making a Matchbox movie on Prime with John Cena, so that looks very interesting. I can't wait for that. So yeah, very interesting. 70% of the budget will be going to the talent too. Where I'm not sure if Warner Brothers wants to put 70% of the movie towards talent. It leaves not a lot of working room to make a workable film. Let's see, 17 uncontrolled wildfires across Washington State. That was a few days ago, so I'm sure that number has increased from 17 to a little bit more. 5,000 people on the ground are fighting the flames. Robert Bigelow talks to George Knapp about UFOs in his first ever Bigelow podcast. We talked about that. Let's see. What else? Presidential confirmation. So Bigelow talked about how he wanted the president to confirm the existence of the phenomenon. All he wanted him to do was say there's a non-human intelligence and it's been observing us for a long time. We're now aware of it. That's it. He just wants there to be a statement issued to where people don't think that a large majority of the population is crazy or being misled. Very interesting. I think it's sweet that he wants there to be a confirmation. Not sure if Trump's the one to do it or not. They have been studying the spirit world, where the spirit goes beyond life after death. And they do think that ghosts are connected to the phenomenon. There's actually a report of a sergeant on a base. They had to move equipment onto this base rather quickly. It was an old base, not used regularly. Apparently the sergeant went to his barracks and he was held in his bunk. Apparently wasn't able to move or sit upright. A specter or a ghost was preventing him from being able to breathe. But then the ghost was surprisingly called off by a gray. So this is very interesting from this account, that the grays, the ghosts, things of this nature are kind of have a similarity to them. Perhaps they operate in a similar spirit world. Very interesting stuff. So I go from there on to my next page. This is August 5th now, guys. Covering just the last couple of days. Ted Lasso returned on Apple TV. Just want to remind you guys, season 4. SpaceX debris crash landed into the moon. I'm not sure why, but they purposely intended on it crashing into the moon. New Disney CEO has responded that he's addressed The Mandalorian and Grogu and Moana, the live action, weren't that profitable for quarter 3 of 2026. So they lost money on both those projects, but it doesn't discern them from making future content. They know that they're franchise moneymakers. Even if these were one-offs, they will continue the brand. There's going to be a Moana 3, an animated Moana 3, and I've heard there's going to be a Mandalorian and Grogu Lego special in September. So I don't know what to think about that. More kid stuff. So that's cool. Dave Filoni said he's getting a rework. So his original film, the plan was if that Mandalorian and Grogu movie did well, they would do a trilogy. Sounds like they're keeping Mandalorian in the TV realm. And his film for Thrawn is going to be worked into a TV series. Maybe more in Ahsoka Season 2. We'll see. She is supposed to be focusing on the Mortis gods. And they're really doing like the episode of Clone Wars live action. So that's pretty cool. Dylan Borland told people like Jeremy Corbell that the government's running games on him, trying to get him caught up in the I believe there's a term for it. It's treason. They're trying to accuse him of treason by telling people about his accounts. They're trying to hit him with the Espionage Act, which is another thing that can sentence you to jail for life or death even. Military court can rule you to be executed in front of a firing squad. So that's very serious threats that Dylan Borland is receiving from ODNI, which is not cool. Colin Wing recently responded about her maybe coming back in season 3 of Daredevil. She said they don't have enough for her character to do, and so she won't return. That sucks because they made her a pseudo Iron Fist in the series on Netflix, and I preferred her character over Danny Rand. But I understand that she's got a blossoming career, and maybe if they put her in the show and she doesn't have a lot to do, then why bring her back? I understand that mindset. The UK has approved the Warner Brothers Paramount merger, which is a big shocker because a lot of people thought with the 12 states against them here in the US and other people trying to push against the Ellisons, maybe this wouldn't go through until next year. It's looking like it's going through at some point. Destin Daniel Cretton says it wasn't Kevin Feige's decision to cancel Wonder Man Season 2, so there are people that he needs to answer to. Even since Bob Chapek has left, Kevin Feige hasn't gotten his full power back. He's only collected a few of the Infinity Stones, not quite all of them. So the big speculation was who canceled Wonder Man, and I have to say it might have been Josh DeMario, the new CEO. He might have watched the show and just thought it wasn't that great, or maybe he thought Destin Daniel Cretton needs to be making us movies instead of TV shows. So that's very interesting. TikTok creators are going to be teaming up with Disney Plus and be putting content on the streaming service starting in 2027. So that's very interesting. I know other platforms are kind of testing the waters this way. Spider-Man Brand New Day has become the highest grossing film of the year. So that is big, major news. Then we've got Kit Connor has been cast as Cyclops. We're probably going to hear a lot more about this at D23 coming up on the 14th, 15th, and 16th, I believe, is Disney's big D23 event. The last one we had was about 2 years ago, where they announced big things like Star Wars, Skeleton Crew, other things that we've already gotten. But X-Men, looking forward to big casting. Mitch McConnell discharged from a rehab facility after a mid-June fall, so now he's going to be recovering at home, despite speculation of him being possibly dead. They had the whole proof of life photo, which many people tried to cite as AI. Grown Ups 3 has its first casting call photo, which is cool. They've brought back everyone from the series to do a third movie. Direct voice phenomena. So sometimes the CIA and other government agencies have ways of echoing sound through the woods or even across properties. They could make you hear even what sounds like a whisper, and you could go possibly make it be thinking you're hearing thoughts in your head. But they have devices such as a sonic amplifying mic to project sound across vast distances, and even when you're nowhere near people, you can still hear them like they're just right next to you. That's very interesting. Light orbs that go into the woods, people follow it, and then they see a former dead person. So this is very interesting as well. People having encounters with the dead or a former past loved one, which is interesting. The government is reporting these stories as well. Creatures seem to be able to use a form of sex magic, if you will. The Greys in particular, they've been documented leaving around secretions and symbols. So that's very interesting. Going back to Theban, the witch's alphabet. So very interesting stuff. They have been able to track using demonologists and different experts of the occult, doing occult science. Let's see, David Duchovny turned 66, and they are re-releasing the second X-Files movie on Hulu. The I Want to Believe is now going to be on streaming for the first time. It's the 18th anniversary of the film, which looks like a very darker horror film, which I've never seen, so that's cool for him. The last film of Sam Neill's career will be Legend of Zelda, which is amazing because I thought, we knew we were going to get him in King Kong, Supernova, or Godzilla Kong Supernova. But the fact he's going to be in Legend of Zelda 2 is really going to cap off his career, and I really hope they give him his flowers. I'm not sure who he will play in the role, but looking forward. But he could play Link's father, for all I care. The Odyssey, like I said, made $1 billion already. George R.R. Martin confirms that he has plans for a Winds of Winter series. This is going to be going into the explanation of the White Walkers, the Children, and the First Man. So that's really cool. It's going to show different lands and the lands of always winter. So that's cool, where the White Walkers come from. Explain why the White Walkers don't talk, perhaps. They're going to give maybe some of them more dialogue roles, which is good because they didn't talk at all in Game of Thrones. Anyway, Godzilla Minus Zero runtime's been confirmed for 2 hours 15 minutes, which is pretty good, I'd say, for a runtime for Godzilla Toho film. Blue Beetle animated series, it's still in the works from DC. We haven't got a release date yet, and we're not sure if Sholo Maratuena will be voicing Blue Beetle. The Shards 9-episode Ryan Murphy event ends on a cliffhanger. They don't really explain who the killer is, and it has been renewed for 2 more seasons, so it's going to be a 3-season show. Pretty cool to see that Ryan Murphy got his deal settled for the Shards when he had his flop of The Beauty not being renewed. Bill Lawrence, creator of Shrinking, is struggling to get people on board for a Ted Lasso season 4. Unfortunately, I guess not a lot of people are watching it, even though he's made great television like Shrinking. Jeff Schneider reports that Marvel is interested in creating a True Detective style series for the future. And who could they use for that? I mean, I don't know any MCU characters they could use for a True Detective series. I mean, it's funny that they want to do that when this week HBO is dropping Lanterns. Jim Carrey will be in the live-action Jetsons film. Been confirmed. He will play George Jetson, the dad, even though he's already 60-something years old. Gareth Edwards leaves the Jurassic World franchise, so he's not coming back for Jurassic World. I think it's called Liberation. Kenobi Season 2 is already being rumored, with Ian McGregor getting ready for his new film, End of Oak Street, coming out. Him and Anne Hathaway both teased that if Season 2 does happen, they both want to be in it. So that's kind of cool. Anne Hathaway in Star Wars. I would definitely check that out and give Obi-Wan something to do instead of run around the desert acting like, I don't know, some kind of waif. Let's see. Oh yeah, Uli Lakufu. I hope I'm saying his name right. Uli Lakufu has been cast as Ganondorf in the live-action Legend of Zelda, which is really awesome. Let's see, Practical Magic 2 in theaters on September 10th, guys. So remember that date, September 10th. Star Wars Visions, The Ninth Jedi gets a 91% Rotten Tomatoes, which is pretty good. AMC will have Star Trek 60th Anniversary collectible cups and a bucket available on 9/4, so that's pretty cool. So September the 4th. New Leprechaun being made on Lionsgate. So Leprechaun movie. Do we think Jennifer Aniston will return? I would like to see it. Going on from there, we've got August the 7th. Star Wars The Bad Batch gets a sequel after 2 years. We're hearing good news about Bad Batch. I was a fan of the series. Todd Blanche set to become our new Secretary General. He's going to be sworn in if he hasn't already. Let's see. A 5th batch of UAP tranche documents has been released, which is why I wanted to do the video. Skywatcher Ranch, which was going to be a public and privately ran outfit to do research on the phenomenon, has recently been bought by the government. They've patented their research, and they're not going to expose any of it to the public like they promised, which I'm kind of ticked off by. They have released some information about the new types of craft, the 9 types of craft. That's what I have for the thumbnail. But I kind of wish they'd release some of this to the public like they promised. So the government says some of these orbs can break down. Apparently, the orbs people have seen, the plasma, it can supposedly collapse in on itself, and that can cause bodily harm. So they're warning people not to follow plasma orbs into the woods, which is very interesting. Dr. Phil goes on about gatekeepers. He says there's not a lot to see here in this 5th batch. A lot of the videos they've released have been the same, just with a little bit higher quality, and all the metadata has been scrubbed, which a lot of people are asking for. Avengers Secret Wars will start production this month, this August, to be ready by 2027. It needs to start. Let's see. Violent Night 2 has its first trailer out with David Harbour, Christian Bell as Mrs. Claus. So that's pretty cool. Grown Ups 3 is going to be on Netflix. So it is going to be an Adam Sandler Netflix movie. After Happy Gilmore 2, I could take or leave it. I would have liked to see it in the theaters. Like, I believe the first two the first two Grown Ups films were released theatrically. They might give Adam Sandler his flowers and release it, but I doubt they will. I bet they want this to be a streaming movie, like how Happy Gilmore was, and watch it at home. The Japanese government issued an emergency after North Korean missiles landed off the coast. So very big concern from North Korea. They've been ramping up their missile production rate and trying to take out Japan for some. I'm not exactly sure why North Korea hates Japan so badly, but I'm sure it's due to some conflict in the past, or maybe it's the fact that Japan likes the U.S. I'm not sure. Late August, South Korea is going to practice military drills with the U.S. So I guess every August, South Korea performs these military drills, and North Korea considers it like an aggressive act, and they launch missiles. Their missiles aren't that great. I mean, they don't ever hit their targets, but eventually they might, and that's the big concern. DEWs, so directed energy weapons, are being produced by the Pentagon. They're going to be apparently applied to warships. So where these warships have had these giant tank guns with shells, and you guys have seen the outrageous amount of ammunition they load onto those planes, the missiles. They're talking about by 2027, they could be putting these DOEs, these directed energy weapons, onto warcraft. And I guess they're very much more cost effective because they're not all of this waste in ammunition. It's signals. They're sending out beams faster than the speed of light, which is kind of concerning. Going on from there, we've got U.S. soldiers were exposed in a foreign government. A foreign power had these directed energy weapons, and some people were exposed and developed sicknesses. that has been acknowledged by the government, but those people still didn't get paid their pension. The government has written them off, forgotten them in a sense, which is really messed up. They've done that with Agent Orange and several other things. Star Wars update for Ahsoka. Ezra will be using his lightsaber finally, because we didn't get a lot of Ezra lightsaber action season 1. The Odyssey, I already said, made $1 billion, which is really great. Mike Flanagan is doing a Mist movie, which is really cool. He's apparently a big fan of the Frank Darabont's 2007 film with I'm trying to remember his name, something Jane, Thomas Jane, who's a great actor, former Punisher. Mike Flanagan's already done a numerous amount of Stephen King's projects. He's done Grendel's Game, my favorite, Doctor Sleep, and he did The Life of Chuck, which I haven't watched. He's got his own Red Room production studios that he works out of exclusively. We know he's working on the TV series, the Carrie TV series for Amazon, which Stephen King is a producer on that series. We haven't heard of him being a producer on the Mist movie yet, but I'm guessing he's going to be a consultant. The story's going to be different from the Frank Darabont movie, obviously. Possibly a different ending. Obviously, that ending was the greatest crash out in history. Let's see. WB Studios set to release. Mike Flanagan will write, produce. We've got Alexander Magister is set to executive produce, so that's really cool. House of the Dragon wrapped, so it's done for the year, but I'm sure a lot of people are still going to be watching it, given that it just finished its 3rd season. And the series will return in 2028. A bit of a wait, but we do have the 2nd season of Night of the Seven Kingdoms coming. Hopefully, if it's not delayed, it will be coming by 2027, next year. And then we're getting season 4 of House of the Dragon and Aegon's Conquest. So a lot of stuff coming out. Adam Driver, rumored to play Sebastian Shaw instead of Magneto now. I'm not exactly sure what I want to believe about the Adam Driver rumors. Lioness Season 3 is earning its praise. Lena the Plug, I want to shout out to her real quick, went on a 20v1 dating live stream with Drake, which is kind of interesting because he was on, not a lot of people talking about Drake right now, but of course he's blowing back up. He was on dating contest, these infamous online funny things where Lena the Plug gave him a hall pass, which was pretty cool. Sacha Baron Cohen is set to play Mephisto, the villain, the trickster demon in Ghost Rider, so that's pretty dope. We haven't seen him since Ironheart, so get him back into work. Saudi Arabia, Turkey, and Pakistan all sign a NATO-style defense pact, which we've known they've had ideas for this. The groundworks haven't really been set in place yet, but they are preparing to have a defense-style pact against Iran due to the trade debate or trade fighting over infrastructure and fuel, of course. Multiple foodborne illnesses spread across nationwide. I heard about the jalapenos causing salmonella. Very interesting. And the Psychosporiasis parasite is, this is due to the environment. It's really warm down in Mexico, and these diseases are spreading and then coming up to the U.S., and people are spreading the food around. So until they ban the food, they're not going to end the disease. Very basic. But real quick, again, about the Skywatcher Ranch. Very interesting to see a few months ago, back in December of 2025, their last social media post on X, claiming that they were going to bring down these craft using psionics. And I believe that happened in the New Mexico airspace. when they shut down the El Paso airport for several days. They claimed it was Mexican cartel drones, but I believe now we're hearing reports that the president authorized the shooting down of a UAP to study it, to study the technology. Congress people may have been out at White Sands to witness this. We're not sure. And of course, to end things on a bit of a sad note, Jackie the Eagle unfortunately passed away due to an unknown mysterious illness. We had seen a week prior, that she had gotten into a fight with another eagle. She had struggled to fly again, and I'm not sure if she was hunting or if they were giving her food. It is a bit of a sad note. Jackie the Eagle has been sadly sent on to the ancestors. Real quick, I will show off my physical media because I want to keep the candle lit, the flaming eternal flame going for physical media. I only got 2 titles this week, guys, but they're bangers. I was able to get let's see what year it is. 1998, so 1 year before I was born. Soldier, Kurt Russell, Blu-ray. Very good. And then I was able to get the 2025, I believe. Or was it 24? Oh, 24. So a couple years back. The 2024 Francis Ford Coppola's Megalopolis. Speaking of Adam Driver and crashing out, this is probably his best crash out performance. So really cool. I was able to get this from Amazon UK, so I did have to go through a bit of a tricky vendor because this, of course, is only sold through Amazon UK, and you can pick when you go into your Amazon account. You can pick what region you buy from, and you just go in there and select instead of the United States, UK. It took about 2 weeks to get here in the mail, but I'm glad it did. Haven't put it in the disc player yet, but I'm very looking forward to checking it out, giving my full review on it, because this is a movie, infamously, they said it wouldn't be on physical media. They said it would only be in theaters, and then, of course, they pulled it from the theaters, and we thought we would never see it again. But here it is, thanks to the UK. Shout out to every of the good Brits over there having their tea and biscuits, I'm sure, and other harder illicit drinks. This is me signing off for this broadcast. Thank you, everyone that's been watching, supporting my channel. I hope you come back again, and I hope this video was very informative for you. Until next time, be sure to hang out and come back for all the good movie news, and check out this Sunday on HBO Max, Lanterns is premiering, and I really can't wait for it. Bye bye, y'all. Have a good one. Stay safe. I'll catch you in another one of my videos.